In an alternate universe, Anakin Skywalker broke free from Palpatine's manipulation during the conversation where Palpatine told Anakin he was a Sith. Images and memories flashed before Anakin's eyes. The assassination attempts on Padmé, each one more deadly than the last. The fear and anger that had surged within him each time she was threatened. He remembered Palpatine's comforting words, his seemingly endless support, but now those words seemed laced with poison.
Think, Anakin,
he told himself, his breathing heavy.
If Palpatine is the Sith Lord, then who else would benefit from Padmé's death?
The pieces began to fall into place. He remembered how Palpatine had always seemed to know exactly how to comfort him, how to push him just enough to tip him toward anger, toward the dark side. And then there was the timing of the attempts on Padmé's life, always when Anakin was at his most vulnerable. A chilling thought solidified in Anakin's mind. Palpatine had orchestrated everything. He had been behind the attacks on Padmé, knowing that her death would drive Anakin to desperation and rage. Palpatine had manipulated him, played on his deepest fears and desires, to bring him closer to the dark side.
No, it can't be.
But the evidence was undeniable. Palpatine had been grooming him, manipulating him from the very beginning. Anakin's rage began to burn, a fierce fire igniting within him. He could see the satisfaction in Palpatine's eyes, the twisted pleasure the Sith Lord took in his turmoil. But then, clarity struck Anakin like a bolt of lightning. This was exactly what Palpatine wanted, to push him over the edge, to make him lose control and succumb to the darkness. He took a deep breath, forcing himself to center his thoughts. The rage still simmered, but he fought to keep it in check. Slowly, deliberately, he reached for his lightsaber. With a sharp snap hiss, the blue blade sprang to life, casting a cold light across the room. Anakin pointed it directly at Palpatine, his eyes blazing with a mixture of determination and betrayal.
You won't control me. I won't let you.
And what now, Anakin? Will you turn me into the Jedi Council? Will you betray me as I have betrayed you?
Anakin's grip on his lightsaber tightened, the hum of the blade filling the tense silence.
No. I won't turn you in. I won't give you the chance to manipulate anyone else.
The smile on Palpatine's face faltered for a moment, replaced by a flicker of uncertainty. Anakin took a step forward, his resolve hardening.
I will end this. Right here, right now.
Palpatine's eyes glinted with malevolent intent as he raised his hand. With a swift motion, he summoned a lightsaber from his sleeve, the weapon snapping into his grasp with a menacing hiss. The red blade ignited, casting an eerie glow across his sinister features. Anakin's mind reeled. Had Palpatine been hiding the lightsaber there the entire time, even while playing the role of the benevolent Chancellor? The depth of his deception was staggering. Every moment, every conversation had been a part of his grand scheme. Anakin's anger flared again, but he fought to keep it in check. This was a battle he needed to face with a clear mind.
You've hidden this from everyone. All this time, pretending to be someone you're not.
Indeed, young Skywalker, but now the pretense ends. Join me, and we can bring order to the galaxy.
Never!
He lunged forward, his blue blade meeting Palpatine's red in a clash of light and power, the true battle for his soul now beginning. The clash of lightsabers reverberated through the room, blue and red blades flashing as Anakin and Palpatine began their deadly dance. Anakin opened with Form 5, Gem So, his strikes powerful and aggressive, aimed to overpower Palpatine with sheer force. He pushed forward with relentless blows, each one intended to break through Palpatine's defenses. But Palpatine was no ordinary opponent. With the ease of a master, he countered with Form 7th, Juyo. His movements were unpredictable, a whirlwind of precise and chaotic strikes that kept Anakin on the defensive. The Sith Lord's blade moved with blinding speed, exploiting every slight opening in Anakin's attack. Anakin adjusted his stance, shifting to Form 4, Ataru, to match Palpatine's speed and agility. He leaped and spun, his blade a blur as he tried to press his advantage. For a moment, it seemed as though he might gain the upper hand, his strikes landing closer and closer to Palpatine. But Palpatine's experience and cunning were unmatched. With a swift motion, he transitioned to Makashi, Form 2, a dueling style designed for lightsaber-to-lightsaber combat. His ripostes were elegant and deadly, his blade weaving a web of defense that Anakin struggled to penetrate. The room echoed with the sound of their lightsabers, the air thick with the heat of their clashing energy. Anakin felt himself beginning to tire. Each of Palpatine's strikes seemed to draw more out of him, while the Sith Lord remained eerily composed, his eyes gleaming with dark amusement. Anakin's frustration grew, his thoughts clouding with anger. He drew on his emotions, pushing himself harder, but Palpatine used this against him, exploiting his aggression to further unbalance him. In a sudden, fluid motion, Palpatine's blade slipped past Anakin's guard, cutting through his defense with a masterful stroke. Anakin's lightsaber was sent flying from his hand, skittering across the floor. Pain seared through his arm as he fell to his knees, defenseless and vulnerable. Palpatine stood over him, his red blade humming ominously, casting a sinister glow over Anakin's face.
You are powerful, young Skywalker, but you lack control. You are no match for the dark side.
Anakin's consciousness felt as if it were being pulled from his body, the pain and fear fading into a distant echo. He drifted through a void, a place that seemed to exist beyond time and space. Colors swirled around him, and he felt weightless, suspended in a realm that was both alien and strangely familiar.
Anakin,
a voice called out, gentle and soothing. It was a voice he had not heard in a long time.
Qui-Gon?
Anakin's thoughts formed into words as he looked around, trying to find the source of the voice. A figure began to materialize before him, ethereal and glowing with a soft blue light. Qui-Gon Jinn stood there, his presence calm and reassuring.
Yes, my young friend.
How can this be? Am I dead?
No, Anakin, you are very much alive, but your spirit has been drawn here to the realm of the living force where we can speak freely.
I don't understand. Palpatine, he's too powerful. I can't defeat him.
Power alone does not define one's destiny. You have always struggled with the duality within you, the pull between the light and the dark.
I don't know how to control it. The dark side. It feels so strong, but it also feels wrong.
The Force is one. The living force connects all things, both light and dark. To truly harness its power, you must find balance within yourself. Embrace your emotions, but do not let them consume you. Use the dark side's strength, but let the light guide your actions.
But how? How do I balance the two without losing myself?
By understanding that both sides of the Force are part of you. The dark side offers passion, power, and determination, but it must be tempered with the light, compassion, wisdom, and peace. Accept your fear and anger, but do not let them rule you. Let them fuel your resolve without dictating your actions.
I think I understand. I need to be in control, not controlled by my emotions.
Exactly. You are not defined by the darkness within you, nor are you limited to the light. You are a conduit of the Force, capable of great things when you find harmony within yourself.
Thank you, Master Qui-Gon. I won't let you down.
Remember, Anakin, the Force is always with you. Trust in it, and trust in yourself.
With that, Anakin felt his consciousness being pulled back, the swirling colors and ethereal light fading as the physical world came rushing back into focus. He was back in the Chancellor's office, lying on the ground, Palpatine's red blade still looming over him. But now, he felt different, centered, balanced, ready. Slowly, Anakin rose to his feet, meeting Palpatine's gaze with a newfound determination.
This ends now. I am not your pawn.
With a swift motion, he summoned his lightsaber back to his hand, the blue blade igniting with a snap hiss. Anakin rose to his feet, the blue blade of his lightsaber casting a determined light across his face. Palpatine's eyes narrowed, sensing the change in his former apprentice. The Dark Lord's overconfidence was replaced with a flicker of unease as he saw the resolve in Anakin's eyes, a resolve that seemed unbreakable. Anakin began his assault, his movements a fluid blend of both the light and dark sides of the Force. His strikes were swift and powerful, fueled by the passion and intensity of the dark side, yet tempered with the precision and clarity of the light. He danced between the two with a mastery that only the Chosen One could achieve, his connection to the living force stronger than ever before. Palpatine countered with ferocity, his red blade meeting Anakin's in a series of blinding clashes. He drew on the dark side's immense power, his strikes aimed to overwhelm and dominate. But Anakin was no longer the impulsive, anger-driven warrior Palpatine had manipulated. He was balanced, every move a testament to his newfound harmony within the Force. With a series of intricate maneuvers, Anakin pressed Palpatine back, using the acrobatics of Ataru to outmaneuver the Sith Lord. He leapt and spun, each motion fluid and graceful, yet devastatingly effective. Palpatine snarled, unleashing a torrent of Force lightning. Anakin raised his hand, absorbing the energy and channeling it back into his attacks, his connection to the Force amplifying his abilities beyond anything he had ever experienced.
You cannot defeat me. The dark side is stronger.
The Force is one. It is you who is divided, who cannot see the truth.
He pushed forward, his strikes becoming a blur of light and power. Palpatine, realizing he was being outmatched, resorted to his cunning. With a swift motion, he deactivated his lightsaber and summoned all his strength, hurling Anakin across the room with a powerful force push. Anakin crashed into a wall, but he quickly regained his footing, his mind clear and focused. As Palpatine prepared another attack, Anakin saw his opportunity. He reached out with the Force, not to strike, but to connect. He sensed the fear and desperation within the Sith Lord, and for a moment, he felt a pang of pity. But he knew what he had to do. Channeling the full potential of the Force, Anakin combined the dark side's raw power with the light side's clarity. He created a vortex of energy around Palpatine, trapping him in a whirlwind of the Force's dual nature. Palpatine's eyes widened in horror as he realized he was caught, unable to break free from the balanced might of the Chosen One. With a final, decisive strike, Anakin closed the distance, his blue blade piercing Palpatine's heart. The Sith Lord's eyes went wide with shock, his mouth opening in a silent scream as the life drained from his body. The dark energy around them dissipated, leaving only the light of Anakin's saber. But in the last moment, Anakin did something unexpected. He reached out with the Force, extending compassion even to his fallen enemy. He absorbed the residual dark energy, not letting it corrupt him, but balancing it within himself. Palpatine's body crumpled to the floor, lifeless, as Anakin stood over him, the true master of both sides of the Force. The room fell silent, the weight of what had just happened settling in. Anakin deactivated his lightsaber, his mind at peace. He had fulfilled his destiny, not just by destroying the Sith, but by truly understanding the Force. He had brought balance, not just to the galaxy, but within himself. Anakin barely had time to catch his breath before the doors to the Chancellor's office burst open, a squad of clone troopers and several senators flooding into the room. At the head of the group was Maz Amidala, his expression a mix of shock and fury as he took in the scene before him. Palpatine's lifeless body on the floor, and Anakin standing over it, his lightsaber still in hand.
Anakin Skywalker, you are under arrest for the murder of the Republic Chancellor.
Anakin deactivated his lightsaber and held his hands up in surrender. The clone troopers moved quickly, binding his wrists in stun cuffs. He didn't resist, knowing that any further violence would only worsen the situation. As they led him away, he glanced back at Palpatine's body, the weight of his actions settling in. In the days that followed, a storm of accusations and rumors swept through the Senate and the galaxy at large. Mas Amedda, along with other loyalists to Palpatine, spun a narrative of a Jedi coup, claiming that Anakin's actions were part of a larger plot to overthrow the Republic. The public, already wary of the Jedi, found the story plausible. The once great defenders of peace and justice were now seen as traitors. During his trial before the Senate, Anakin stood alone, the weight of the galaxy on his shoulders. He had requested that no other Jedi be present, insisting that he acted independently. As the proceedings began, he could see the skepticism in the eyes of the senators.
Anakin Skywalker, you stand accused of murdering Chancellor Palpatine and conspiring against the Republic. What do you have to say in your defense?
Anakin took a deep breath, feeling the presence of the Force guiding him.
I did not conspire with anyone. The Jedi had no part in this. They did not even know that Chancellor Palpatine was a Sith Lord until I discovered it myself.
Gasps and murmurs filled the chamber. Anakin continued, undeterred.
Palpatine was Darth Sidious, the Sith Lord we have been searching for. He was responsible for the war, for the suffering of countless lives. I confronted him alone and acted to prevent further destruction.
Maz Amidala stepped forward, his eyes narrowing.
You expect us to believe this wild claim? That the Chancellor, a man who dedicated his life to the Republic, was secretly a Sith Lord? Where is your proof?
I have no physical proof. Only my word and the knowledge that I acted to protect the Republic from a great evil. Palpatine's manipulation ran deep, and I alone uncovered the truth.
The Senate chamber erupted into chaos, voices clamoring for order, for evidence, for justice. Anakin stood tall amidst the tumult, knowing that his path was now more uncertain than ever. As the Senate chamber buzzed with tension, a new figure stepped forward, commanding immediate attention. Senator Padmé Amidala, her face a mask of determination, addressed the assembly.
Honorable Senators, I stand here to speak on behalf of Anakin Skywalker.
Gasps of recognition and surprise rippled through the room. Padmé was known for her integrity and dedication to justice. Her support could sway many undecided minds.
Senator Amidala?
Maz Amida interjected quickly, his voice dripping with disdain.
While your position and opinions are respected, there is a matter of conflict of interest here. Anakin Skywalker is your husband, is he not?
The chamber fell into stunned silence. Senators exchanged glances, whispers spreading like wildfire. Padmé's relationship with Anakin had been a well-guarded secret, now exposed in the most public and damning way. Padmé's eyes widened momentarily, but she quickly regained her composure.
Yes, he is my husband, but that does not discredit the truth of what he has revealed. Chancellor Palpatine was indeed Darth Sidious.
Maz Amida cut her off, raising a datapad high.
I have here the official records from Naboo confirming their marriage. This relationship clearly biases any statement made by Senator Amidala.
The screen behind Amida lit up, displaying the marriage certificate from Naboo. The evidence was irrefutable, and the Senate erupted in a cacophony of shocked exclamations and heated debate. Padmé tried to interject, her voice strained with urgency.
This does not change the fact that Anakin acted alone and—
Enough! Senator Amidala's statements must be retracted due to her personal involvement with the accused. We cannot allow personal feelings to cloud our judgment in matters of state security and justice.
Padmé's heart pounded as she glanced toward Anakin, who stood with a resolute expression. She knew her words were falling on deaf ears, and yet she could not remain silent. She stepped forward, addressing the senators directly.
Please listen to reason. Palpatine's actions have always been shrouded in secrecy. The war, the manipulations, all orchestrated by him. Anakin uncovered the truth and acted to save the Republic.
But the senators, swayed by the undeniable evidence of her marriage, seemed reluctant to heed her plea. The chamber's atmosphere grew more contentious, with accusations and doubts flying in every direction. Anakin watched the scene unfold, his heart aching for Padmé. He knew the risk she took by standing up for him, and he admired her bravery. But the weight of their secret had now been weaponized against them. As the trial continued, it became evident that proving Palpatine's true identity as Darth Sidious without concrete evidence was an uphill battle. Anakin could see the skepticism in the eyes of many senators, and he realized that his word alone might not be enough to save himself or to clear the name of the Jedi Order. In the midst of the turmoil, a new voice broke through.
I believe there is a way to prove Anakin's claims,
said Bail Organa, stepping forward with a calm but authoritative demeanor.
We should investigate Palpatine's private quarters and offices. If he was indeed a Sith Lord, there must be evidence.
The suggestion brought a momentary hush over the assembly. It was a reasonable proposal, and one that could finally bring the truth to light. The senators murmured among themselves, weighing the possibility. Maz Amida, clearly displeased, attempted to regain control.
We cannot disrupt the sanctity of the late Chancellor's quarters without just cause.
But we do have just cause. If there is even a chance that Palpatine was the Sith Lord, we owe it to the Republic to investigate thoroughly.
The Senate approved Bail Organa's proposal, and Anakin was remanded into the custody of the Republic, held in a high-security detention facility while the investigation proceeded. For a year, Bail and Padmé tirelessly pursued every lead, meticulously piecing together the fragments of Palpatine's schemes. They found hints and whispers that suggested Palpatine's involvement in the war and the manipulation of key events, but nothing concrete. The Sith Lord had been thorough, erasing or hiding any incriminating evidence. Palpatine's conversations with the Separatists were gone, and his offices and residences had been meticulously cleared. As the months dragged on, the heartbreaking reality began to settle over Padmé and Bail. Without concrete evidence, Anakin was likely to be found guilty of murder and conspiracy. The Senate's verdict loomed ever closer, and the potential punishment of death weighed heavily on their hearts. One night, as Anakin lay in his cell, staring up at the cold, unfeeling ceiling, he heard a faint sound. He sat up, straining to listen. The door to his cell slid open silently, and a figure slipped inside. Anakin's heart leaped as he recognized Ahsoka Tano, his former Padawan.
Ahsoka, what are you doing here?
We don't have much time. I'm here to get you out.
Thank you, Ahsoka. But where will we go?
We have allies. There are still those who believe in the Jedi and in justice. We'll find a way to clear your name.
They moved swiftly and silently through the facility, Ahsoka's intimate knowledge of Jedi tactics and the Republic's security measures allowing them to evade detection. They slipped into the shadows, disappearing into the night. As the first light of dawn began to break, Anakin and Ahsoka boarded a small, unmarked ship, setting a course for an uncertain future. Ahsoka guided Anakin through hyperspace, navigating to a remote world hidden deep within the unknown regions. The journey was tense, each moment fraught with the risk of discovery, but as they approached their destination, Anakin felt a glimmer of hope. As the ship descended through the atmosphere, a small settlement came into view, nestled in a lush, verdant valley. When they landed, Anakin was met by a group of familiar faces. Obi-Wan Kenobi stepped forward, a mixture of relief and gratitude in his eyes. Beside him stood Padmé, her expression filled with love and determination, and at her feet were two small children, their eyes wide with curiosity.
Anakin, thank you for your ultimate sacrifice. Because of your testimony, the Jedi were absolved of any wrongdoing. The Senate believes you acted alone, and the evidence supports that. The Jedi Order, though proven innocent, has decided it's time to return to our roots, away from Coruscant and the political machinations.
Anakin's gaze shifted to the two children, his heart swelling with emotion.
Luke, Leia,
He whispered, kneeling down to their level. Seeing them for the first time, he felt a profound sense of love and responsibility. Padmé moved closer, placing a reassuring hand on his shoulder.
We're together now, Anakin. We'll face whatever comes as a family. I won't leave your side.
Bail Organa stepped forward, his expression solemn but resolute.
We will continue to work to prove your innocence, Anakin. But for now, you must stay hidden. The galaxy is a dangerous place for you and your family.
As the days turned into weeks, Anakin settled into his new life on the hidden world. He found solace in the presence of his family and the company of old friends. The children, Luke and Leia, brought joy and purpose to his days, their innocent laughter a stark contrast to the turmoil of the past year. In the quiet moments, Anakin often reflected on the twists and turns his life had taken. The journey had been fraught with pain and sacrifice, but it had also led him to a deeper understanding of the Force and his own potential. He had faced the darkness within and found balance, and now he was ready to protect and guide his family through whatever challenges lay ahead. Padmé stood by him, unwavering in her support, and with the aid of allies like Bail Organa, they continued to fight for justice from the shadows. Anakin knew that one day, the truth would come to light, and his name would be cleared. Until then, he was content to live in the moment, cherishing the love of his family and the peace they had carved out in a hidden corner of the galaxy.